Zion Williamson took a huge step back in his progress to getting back onto the basketball court. But first, make sure you subscribe and turn on our notifications for a chance to win $500. And now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? We've all been waiting for quite some time for the #1 overall pick in the 2019 NBA draft, Zion Williamson, to gradually make his return to the New Orleans Pelicans. This has been a huge dramatic situation over the offseason. I mean, starting from when his own family came out and put this rumor apparently that Zion Williamson might not want to be a member of the New Orleans Pelicans for much longer, all the way back in June of 2021. The article's by the best source in the entire NBA, Champ Sharanya, saying that sources say that certain family members of Zion Williamson want him on another team and that there's been dysfunction within the Pelicans for months. Now, amongst the targets of Zion Williamson's criticism at the time was head coach Stan Van Gundy, who they felt was too rigid and demanding. So then on September 22nd, 2021, there was a pretty interesting article that was published by NOLA.com on the Pelican section. Now, bear in mind, a lot of people like to write off this article mainly because of Zion's comments about it in the future, but it's really interesting because what they said in this article did make a lot of sense, saying that throughout his rookie season, Zion Williamson had grown increasingly frustrated with the Pelicans for the number of hoops they required him to jump through to return from the knee injury he suffered in the preseason. The team initially provided a return to play timetable of 6 to 8 weeks, but it took more than 3 months for Zion Williamson to get back on the floor. When he was finally given the thumbs up to play, he was placed on burst limits, which he detested, and the way Zion Williamson's return was handled caused significant tension between him and the team's medical staff. Now, this is probably the most famous part of the entire article, where things apparently got so bad between Zion Williamson and David Griffin that although they communicate infrequently now, David Griffin tried hard in Zion Williamson's rookie year to forge a bond. One example, during the Pelicans bubble stay, David Griffin asked to meet with Williamson and play the piano for him. Now, this was a huge talking point, believe it or not, during media day for the New Orleans Pelicans, and Zion Williamson had this to comment on it.
My relationship with Griff, I don't think he can play the piano, last time I checked. But yeah, it's all love with me and Griff. Yeah, it ain't much to dive into. It's just love between us. We're both competitors. We both want to win. Do we disagree on some things? Yeah. I mean, who agrees on everything? But I think that's what makes our relationship great. We both bring the best out of each other, and we're just gonna keep building off that.
But there are parts about this article that I could believe. In the very beginning of David Griffin's tenure, I think he did everything right. He properly navigated the Anthony Davis trade. He turned Anthony Davis into Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and multiple first-round picks, including the #4 overall pick that year from the Los Angeles Lakers. He was able to flip the #4 overall pick to the Atlanta Hawks, who would eventually turn into DeAndre Hunter. He was able to trade for Steven Adams, and it seemed like the post-Anthony Davis New Orleans Pelicans were actually going to be one of our favorite teams to watch on League Pass. But ultimately, it seemed like he fumbled that entire situation, as he would go on to give Steven Adams one of the worst contracts in the entire NBA. He would punt on Alvin Gentry after his first season as the president of basketball operations to bring in his own guy, Stan Van Gundy, and that didn't work out either. And eventually, he would lose Lonzo Ball to the Chicago Bulls for absolutely nothing, despite Zion Williamson saying that he hopes that the New Orleans Pelicans keep Lonzo Ball. The direct quote being, "It would be dope." Williamson said of Lonzo Ball playing with the Pelicans and playing alongside of him, "I think me, Brandon, and Zoe, the three of us, we have a great relationship, and I really would want Zoe to come back, and he knows that. But like I said, the reality of the situation is Zoe's a grown man, so he's going to make the decision that's best for him. The only thing I can say is I hope he stays." Now, on the Laced Up podcast, we floated the theory of whether or not Zion Williamson is actually gaining a bunch of weight on purpose so he could force a trade to another team. What are the odds that Zion's doing this on purpose, man. Like, you were an athlete throughout your entire career. You looked like a literal Greek god when you were in Duke. He wanted to go to New York. He wanted to go to a large market. And NBA, we wanted him to go to New York. And as time went on, you would see Zion Williamson take the court periodically, and then eventually we started getting some more positive news. Zion Williamson's cleared to practice. Zion Williamson more recently was cleared for 5-on-5 the last time we made a video, and it seemed like things were trending up for the man. But now we got some pretty bad news, and it started with this past week. And this is coming from the same source that we've always been getting our information from, ESPN's Andrew Lopez. If it hasn't been Andrew Lopez, we typically get our information from Shams Charania, saying that Zion Williamson has had a setback in his return to play. While he was scheduled to practice with the New Orleans Pelicans on Thursday, foot soreness prevented him from doing so, as first reported by ESPN's Andrew Lopez and The Athletic's Will Gullery. Zion Williamson had been playing 4-on-4 per ESPN, but since his foot is sore, the Pelicans will dial back his workload in the short term. He will not be taking any contact in his workouts during their 2-game Texas trip this week, per The Athletic, but the team reportedly doesn't see this as more than a slight delay. Head coach Willie Green said that it's part of the process, and when you are dealing with injuries and you ramp up some, there's a possibility that you can get a little soreness, which is what he is dealing with currently. Green also added that Zion has been working his tail off to come back and is frustrated, but understand that he has to keep getting past these hurdles. He also stressed that the New Orleans Pelicans are very optimistic that the soreness will go away after a few days and will be able to ramp up Zion Williamson's activity again. We don't want to put our guys on the floor and put their careers at stake or in jeopardy. All of our guys are too important to do something like that, so that's the diligent work that we are doing right now. There's this famous video of Zion Williamson warming up. Every time this guy makes a public appearance, it just happens to go viral nowadays, and it seems like that's literally what happened to him again last night. Some fan took a picture of Zion Williamson last night, and this is how he's currently looking like, man. Now, of course, the man is probably wearing a ton of sweaters, I'd like to think, underneath, but for the most part, man, this doesn't look like a guy that's a genuinely fit human being. Down to his facial structure, his body looks really wide, and everything else. I mean, there are clothes that you could literally wear that would make you look slimmer. There's like this one trick people like to do, that if you wear darker colored clothes, then it'll at least make you look slimmer in appearance. No, that wasn't what I was trying to do here, but I digress. So what's the takeaway from this picture, man? Well, let's be honest. I think there's a chance that the reason why Zion Williamson took a huge step back is what I was proposing to you guys in our earlier videos, where even if Zion Williamson is fully recovered, even if Zion Williamson could technically play and his foot is healed, I don't think it's in the New Orleans Pelicans' best interest to have this man play legitimate basketball games until he slims down a little bit. I mean, I think it's going to be a while before the man gets into playing shape, and that's how it should be. You don't want to get a guy that's rumored to be over 300 pounds who recently broke his foot running up and down and competing with some of the greatest sports athletes in the entire world in a 48-minute basketball game, especially if he's gonna have to do that like 2 to 3 times a week at the very minimum. That just sounds like a way to aggravate an injury, and whether his foot is actually still sore or he is fully healed and is just at the point where he's losing weight, there's no way that Zion Williamson should be playing until he gets back to a respectable weight. And this isn't someone that's just trying to bag on him, man. This is someone that just doesn't want to potentially see this man tear his Achilles or tear his ACL as a result of the weight that he's putting on his knees, let alone his broken foot. He has a history of knee injuries, and I'm just scared that one wrong turn, one wrong pivot, one wrong explosion off of the wrong foot, and this man is going to lose his athleticism for the rest of his career. Again, I'm going to stand by my original take, man. I think they need to put this man on either a very aggressive keto diet for a month or have him do some intermittent fasting. That should shed a lot of the weight very quickly, although it's not going to be necessarily the most sustainable weight to keep up. It'll at least give him a jump start on what he needs to do to get back into playing shape. I do understand that he has a broken foot, so it might not be the easiest to exercise, but there's forms of cardio that you could do without your feet, man. So I think diet and exercise are crucial if Zion wants to not only return, but to return at a good playing weight and not risk further injury, and hopefully we start getting pictures of him looking slimmer, man. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.